I love baseball cards. Got 'em, need 'em, got 'em, need 'em, need 'em, got 'em, need 'em.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Internet Pickup Video. I recently found a seller on eBay that had a hodgepodge of stuff, would be the best way I could describe it. He had autographs, he had some cards from the 80s, just a good mix of weird oddball items. And if you guys have ever watched my channel, you know I'm all about the oddball. So I have this box of goodies that I just got in the mail, and I'm going to open it up and share with you the contents within, and I will tell you after I show everything off the grand total price that I paid for everything, which was a steal in my opinion. So stay with me and I will share the items with you. Alright, I zoomed out the camera a little bit because some of these things are a little larger, a little bigger than 8x10, so I wanted to get the full effect, and I'll do a little zooming in and out. But I'm going to start with the non-autographed items first. I think these are some of the coolest things that I got in a lot, to be honest with you. And let me just share those with you here in a second. Alright, this first item is not anything that spectacular, but I only paid like a, very minimal amount for it. And it is a postcard of the Astrodome, and it is circa 1970s, I'm guessing. Maybe when the stadium first opened, way back when. So I thought this was a nice little unique postcard that maybe I could get some multiple signatures on, from some former Houston Astros from that era. So very cool to have that. Talking on the postcard collection, as many of you know, I have said in many of my videos that Will Clark's my favorite baseball player. And this gentleman had the officially licensed Barry Cola postcard collection, still sealed, just like it would be on the shelf at the card shop or the store or wherever they sold these. But originally had a retail price of $5.98 on it. So if you wanted to buy this back in 1989, 90 or whatever, it would have cost you $6. But I did not pay anywhere near that amount. I think I paid roughly $3, maybe $2, $2 to $3 for the entire sealed set. And being I'm a Will Clark super collector, I am not going to open that at all, and I am going to leave it as it is. So very happy to get that as well. So staying on the same sealed package thing, this is a very unique set of items that I've never seen before. I believe these are from 1983, give or take. And this is the complete Fleer stamp collection of 1, 2, 3, and 4. And as you can see, it's group 4 of 4, group 3 of 4. And it says 224 of the top stars of the game, 72 stamps per package. Now, I'm not going to open these up and look at the checklist before I film this, but 72 times 4 is not 224 last time I checked. I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, my math's not that great, but or maybe they have some stadiums or some team logo stamps in there. I don't know. But I thought this was cool. The complete set has many, many Hall of Famers. Let's see on here. So the first one has a Steve Carlton, in the corner there. This one's got a Johnny Bench, Nolan Ryan, Phil Niekro, Eddie Murray, Carlton Fisk. Some pretty heavy hitting Hall of Famers there from the 80s. Andre Dawson, this Bruce Sutter, Tom Seaver, on down the list. Paul Molitor, let's see, Don Sutton. There's a Fernando Mania stamp, George Brett down here in the corner. But this entire set of all 4 was only a couple bucks. So I thought for a couple bucks, for the entire set, still sealed, just like they came off the shelf at the grocery store, for only a couple bucks. You know, again, this is not something I'm going to open. I'm going to leave them exactly the way they are. Sure, they may not be worth a whole lot of money, but I just think the sentimental value of these, you know, just because that was around my childhood, you know, is something that is just so cool. And I've never actually seen these before, so, you know, pretty cool to add them to my collection. You know, oh, I just noticed Gary Carter up there in the corner as well. But to find these complete, still in the package, never been touched by a kid or anything, is a pretty rare feat. All right, so staying on the theme of unsigned items that I hope to one day get signed. The first thing that I grabbed was a 1980 Kansas City Royals photo album. And I've gone to some signings. I'm just going to turn this sideways and blur up the camera, apparently. And as you can see, these have some nice bright color pictures. You know, Dennis Leonard, George Brett. I've seen Dennis Leonard, John Mayberry. Oh, that's not John Mayberry. It's Jose Martinez. Excuse me. I've seen some of these guys, you know, in the Kansas City area, you know, still to this day. And gotten a few of them to get signed. And I just thought this was a nice, beautiful, full color picture photo album, more or less, with a lot of guys from the 1980s Royals teams. And there's also a nice big picture of Kauffman Stadium in the back. We could always get, you know, somebody randomly to sign that as well. So unfortunately, there are some people in here that have passed away, but, you know, I thought this was a nice, you know, for Marty Patton and Darryl Porter, you know, aren't going to sign this. But, you know, guys like Willie Wilson, Frank White, you know, they still make appearances in the Kansas City area. Maybe I'll get it signed. So on that same token, the seller also had this, and it is a official 1976 Championship Series Royals edition, as you can see at Royal Stadium. And this is from the 76 season, and the Royals did not win that year. But it's got the Yankees in there as well. And that's like the only page of Yankees other than the roster. But it's got, you know, all the achievements of the Royals during the regular season. And it's got the profiles for each one. You know, there's Dennis Leonard again. So if I see Dennis, I'll have him sign this. You know, Frank White, Jamie Quirk, John Mayberry up here in the corner. I've seen all these, you know, at one time or another. And, you know, it's too bad I didn't own it then, because I would have got it signed. There's a photo with Whitey Herzog and the coaching staff and the whole team. So these two were like $2 each. I mean, it was so crazy that to find these in the condition they were in for only a couple bucks. And I'm like, heck, sure. So moving on, I will leave the postcard on the page there. But I'm going to move to the autographed items. Some of these items are unique, as in one of a kind, would be the best way I'd put it. So we will start with, I guess we'll just start with the photos first. Now this goes into the category, I wish I had this at another time. Pay no attention to the price tag up in the corner, but this is the 3 Aces photo of the New York Mets. And that features Paul Wilson and Bill Pulsipher and Jason Isringhausen. I've met Jason Isringhausen probably 2 or 3 times in my life. Congratulations on getting elected to the Cardinals Hall of Fame, by the way, this year, Jason. Unfortunately, I didn't have this photo. I know this was on the back of a Beckett. I remember seeing the Beckett back in the day with this exact image. But to me, to find, you know, these guys already on there, I have a high likelihood I will run into Jason again, and this will be the item that I ask him to sign. The last time I saw Jason, he signed 2 or 3 photos for me. So, you know, hopefully one day I'll get a chance to catch up to him again, get him to sign it. Guy had a $10 price tag on it, as you can see on the holder. I paid $2 for it. $2, buy it now. So, couldn't beat that. Now this next one This was a former Philadelphia Philly that I have heard his health is declining and also is very limited in signing through the mail. And this is former Philadelphia Philly Tony Taylor on an 8x10. And it's kind of a darker area, the photo he signed, but it does look a lot better, you know, with the naked eye. Personally, I kind of wish he would have signed up the side of his face, or, you know, in a wider area than, or even smashed it in that corner. But, you know, can't be too picky. But that was only a couple bucks, so I picked that up for like $2. This next item, rest in peace, is a Norfolk Tides promo thing. I wouldn't call it an 8x10. It's like, you know, almost like 9x11, and you can see that it's kind of gotten damaged, probably because of its size. You know, I wish they just would have printed it a little bit smaller. But that is indeed Lima time. A signed Jose Lima photo card. And, you know, he passed away a few years ago, unfortunately. But that is a very, very beautiful signature of his. You know, on that card and on the back. This was towards the end of his career. On the back, it's got all his stats, you know, from his many adventures through the major leagues. But I want to say this probably was about his last season, if not close to his last season. But Lima, again, only $2. So couldn't pass that up. Now this next item is a small autograph, and this is a one-of-a-kind thing too. And this is, I don't collect a lot of hockey autographs, but I know I deal when I see one. And this is a signed, I want to say magazine page or something, of Detroit Red Wing Hall of Famer Sid Abel. And unfortunately, they didn't do a real good cutting job. It would have looked a lot nicer if they would have actually took the time to cut this, but this is signed by Sid, Hall of Famer. He passed away quite a few years ago, in the early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. And again, this seller had this for like $2, buy it now. And I'm like, well, I don't have a Sid Abel autograph, but I know he's a Hall of Famer, and that's a no-brainer. So I grabbed that. Now, this final item I'm going to share with you, this is what brought me to this seller's page. I haven't talked too much about this on my channel, but I am a boxing fan. I enjoy watching boxing. You know, it's I really enjoyed the 90s and the late 80s, you know, with the boxing matchups that they used to have. I can't go before the 80s. I know some of the viewers can, but, you know, before the 80s, my knowledge of boxing is very limited other than what I see on reruns. But, you know, I remember when Mike Tyson was a young fighter, Evander Holyfield, and tragically, this gentleman as well. This is what brought me to the page, or this seller's page, and this is a signed KO magazine of the late Sweet Pea Pernell Whitaker. Now, he didn't give his full signature on this. He just signed it Sweet Pea World Champ. But Pernell is no longer with us. He tragically passed away a couple months ago, and it was a shame because he was a very young man still. But Sweet Pea Whitaker, this is actually the second autograph I've ever gotten from him. He was I actually went one time with my father to the Boxing Hall of Fame, and it happened to be the year that Sweet Pea was inducted, and we both got to meet him. He signed an autograph each for us, I believe, or my father got him and I didn't. I don't know. It was kind of a mess. I do remember that, trying to get autographs at it, but I know I at least got one more autograph of Sweet Pea in my collection. And when I heard about his passing, I decided to start checking out some auctions to see if there was something cheap out there. And I came across this, and the seller was only asking $5, buy it now. And I'm like, well, for $5, it's not his full signature, but he signed it Sweet Pea World Champ. I figured for $5, that's a heck of a buy. So I snatched it up. So, all collectively here, guys, all of this stuff, I'm going to try to lay it out so I can show it off a little more. All the unsigned stuff that I showed, all the signed stuff that I showed, cost me roughly $35 shipped to my door. 35 bucks for all of this. So, what do you guys think? Not a bad deal, wouldn't you agree? Some very unique oddball items. I mean, the autographs aren't that unique, but you know, the coolest thing is finding these, I think. And also the Will Clark, you know, being I'm a Will Clark super fan. You know, I had to buy that. I would have bought that in a heartbeat when I was a kid if I would have saw it. But thanks for watching, guys. Tell me what you think below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for some future pickup videos. Thanks. Bye.